Now at 5:30, the latest on efforts to reduce the size and spending of the federal government. More than a dozen federal immigration judges, including one in Cleveland, have been dismissed.
These judges handle cases about things like removal, asylum, and detention. Nadine Abasada explains how this affects people right here in Northeast Ohio who are waiting for cases to be heard.
The client management aspect of it is one of the most difficult parts of this work.
Brian Hoffman is an immigration attorney who can usually give his clients a timeline of when they'll have their case heard by a judge. But now,
you really can't even give your client a reasonable expectation because you could get a 2027 date that ends up just being a parking lot date that will later be changed.
Dozens of his clients were set to go before an immigration judge who no longer works for the federal government.
So this is a case that was on Judge Niemer's docket, and we thought we would have a hearing date for 2027, and now there is no future hearing date that appears.
Judge Tanya Niemer was appointed as a federal immigration judge in Cleveland in December of 2023. But sources tell News 5 she was a part of the federal workforce cuts on February 5th. Judge Niemer was also still in her 2-year probationary period. On February 5th, on the Department of Justice's website, you could see Tanya Niemer listed as one of the federal immigration judges right here in Cleveland. But February 13th, nearly a week later, if you take a look at the list, her name is gone.
It's heartbreaking to think that a judge who is doing her best to deal with this enormous backlog and has been tackling cases one after another is all of a sudden let go.
These judicial layoffs come at a time when the Congressional Research Service reports a growing backlog of 3.6 million cases.
What I hope is that my colleagues pass what I've introduced, which is the Rules Act.
News 5 asked Senator Bernie Moreno about the layoffs. He believes more judges don't need to be hired. Instead, the review process for asylum seekers should be sped up to 180 days.
Those people have to come through a legal port of entry, can't cross illegally, and have to stay in their home country before their case is adjudicated. I think that will dramatically reduce by like 80, 90, 95% the caseload.
There's more cases, there's less attorneys, and then to top it off, there's now less judges.
Right. It does not make any sense to me to be eliminating adjudicator positions when we have this enormous and growing backlog.
For immigration attorneys like Brian, these changes are causing a growing uncertainty, making it even more challenging to give his clients a clear idea of the future.
I have a family right now from Guatemala with what I would say is a winning asylum claim. They were supposed to go to trial in 2027 before Judge Niemer, and I now have no idea when that case will go to trial, who it will be scheduled in front of, and what the state of the law will be when we get to that date.
Reporting in Cleveland, Nadine Abasada, News 5.